So what is the first step that we must do in order to begin the process of waking up for the second time? The first time we were put to sleep by a vicious conqueror. The second time we put ourselves to sleep. A double whammy. We must now wake up. And this time we must stay awakened. So what I'm basically saying, simply, we must rid ourselves and stop viewing ourselves or describing ourselves as black or African or any label of this world that has an inevitable fate with doom, as arrogant and wicked nations prior to it shall experience. To choose not to leave this nation or its mentality guarantees your destruction with those who have caused their own demise. And this is what they want. This is what your conqueror wants. They want you, they want us to suffer the same fate with them. When that destruction, when that demise, it is for them, not us. We have not earned what religion calls hellfire. So the question arises, well, brother, if we are not black, if we are not African, if we are none of these other labels that you talk about, then what are we, or what have we become? I want you to hear me out as I continue this talk, then come to your own conclusion. We are of the original peoples of this planet. Many of y'all will agree on that. Just so happened they had dark skin. Prior to these other so-called races or human species of persons, these original people existed thousands, if not millions of years. Many claim that these were holy and righteous persons living in some sort of utopia, living in some sort of heaven on earth. Now, there is no evidence, to my knowledge, nor sign that exists today from the descendants of these persons to show that this was reality, something that was actually happening. I have not seen any signs. There is no records, no written records of or sign of people, their descendants showing this living today or within any other time period. Now, you cannot get apple juice from an orange. No matter how hard you try, you can't do that. If these people, if these persons were truly of a holy or a righteous nature, that's religious terms, how could they eventually produce anarchy and from their DNA produce a human being. And that human being would be the Caucasian people. Another person that will physically make manifest their unholiness and unrighteousness according to religious teachings. How is this possible? If that was not in them, how could they create something like that from their DNA? Now, in nature, either you adapt or change with your environment, or you become extinct. And this is just a theory, a hypothesis. It is possible that within the DNA of an ancient black people, I'm going to say black, not because they were black or called themselves black, but that's what we know. So I'm going to say black or original peoples. Within the DNA of an ancient people, a survival mode was triggered, and a process began to save this human species, as to continue the present course would prove its demise. So the original people had to die, not physically, but what they were. They had to die. In nature, of course, to die means loss of life. But death also brings about the means of to secure or a betterment of the life of that species. For example, if you study lobsters and crocodiles and turtles, now, of course, they eventually die. But these animals live a very, very long time. But after millions and millions of years, the reason why they live a long time like that is because there is no improvement of the model. The turtle is the same way they were a few million years ago, along with the crocodile and lobsters. The purpose of death, we might not like it, but in this life, the purpose of death is to remove the old so something better or an improved model can appear. The human being that you see today should be, we don't act like it, but we are a more improved model than human beings if you went down and studied our lineage. Death in this life or in nature is used to improve the species. So now, if this is true, the original people had to die. All that was them, whether it was good or bad, it had to be destroyed. Before I continue now, I don't wish my talk to be turned into the usual fictional fantasy-like propaganda that you find in religious teaching. I don't want to do that. I want to try to keep this as real as possible, to try to give us an understanding of what could have happened, even though, and see, religious teachings actually back what I'm saying, but I'm trying to bring it to us in a more realistic point of view. And that's our problem, is that we have embraced fantasy and fiction for so long that we think that fiction and fantasy is real. So I want to be careful. This is the Reality's temple. I don't want to bring nothing fantasy and fictional here. Otherwise, I'm defeating the purpose of this ministry. I want you to try to understand what I'm saying to you. Open up your mind. Unclog the pipeline. You're not just listening to me. The universe is speaking to you through me, but it's in you. Everything that I'm telling us is already in you. I'm not telling us nothing new. But we lack maturity and we lack reality. So I love you, King Shaka. Why do you love King Shaka? Because King Shaka brings reality to the people. I want you to view what I'm saying. It's very difficult because we've been entrenched in fantasy things. That's why we have to believe in God. Believe in Jesus. Believe. Always we got to believe in something. We should know something. This is a theory. This is a hypothesis. This because I'm not there. I really don't know. But we want to try to make it real according to what we know, not what we believe. And this is the situation that you find in our reality in nature. I want you to view this from a real and natural situation that can occur in any life form. It just so happened that the human being is of a high intelligence sometimes. All right. This has nothing to do with skin color. I'm trying to explain a process that happens daily in the natural world. I am also sure, because we are hung up on race, that those who believe they are not part of the original people will become upset due to how they find themselves or their role in this process. However, all came from the original people. And now I feel a process has begun to return all back to the original. A clue to this might be the statement in religion, whereas one must be born again. Of course, you can't return to your mother's womb, but a species can revert back to what it once was. And if born again, the results will be different. It makes no sense to be born again just to become or just to continue the problems that messed you up to begin with. In order to rid itself, or in order to rid humanity of these defects and these flaws within us, the original people was made to die. I wish to declare that the so-called African American, the Negro, the colored, the coon, the shine, whatever name that somebody has put on us, we are the byproducts of this process. We are in religion. We are the first ones to be raised from the dead. We are the first ones to be born again. The African American are the catalysts, the Adams and the Eves, more than one. We, not brother so-and-so because he's a messenger of God, or so-and-so because it's us. The African American, the descendants of slaves born in America. We are the Adams. We are the Eves of a brand new existence for the human being. We are of the original people, now being brought from death to life. In fact, we died 2 times. Our ancestors allowed themselves, or nature caused this human species to die and sacrifice not just their sons, but their daughters, so that this human species could survive or be saved. In religion, the people are looking for an individual. But I'm telling us that your Christ, that your Muhammad, all these figures is a people. It is the birth of new gods, a new time, a new era. An entire people, not individuals. I want to explain this as quick as possible in 3 steps. First step. The first step in the process was to steal us away from the original people. And we were stripped of all the knowledge of that place that they call Africa. And the knowledge that we were given was given to us by the new gods, or the conquerors, or the oppressors. So we know nothing of our original ancestry. We can only guess. We can only assume. We can only try to learn. There was a reason for this. The sons and daughters of these original people were made to experience slavery for over 300 years, a living hell. Now, hell, back in ancient times, hell was represented by cold, because the ancient people saw death and the loss of life when the weather turned cold. Heat or spring, the ancient people viewed as life-giving. But due to a popular book called Dante's Inferno, of which the church incorporated that idea or concept and placed it into the biblical teachings or in religion, hell went from being cold to being hot. So hell in modern times represents fire or heat. Fire is used to cook. So the question I ask of nature, of the creation, what you cooking, God? Why you place these children of the original people in this pot? A melting pot for others, but a cooking pot. We suffering getting severely boiled. What you cooking, God? What you cooking, nature? I'm cooking a people to place on a new dinner table because I'm tired of the old menu. I'm done with it. It's no longer pleasant. I'm using fire. When you get a wound, because these who have been in the fire are also wounded in the head. Fire is used to sterilize. And the heat from a fever or from fire helps to fight off disease and illness. The experience of slavery is preparing the seed of the original people to become something new, void of sickness and the defects that plague the original people or persons. Heat cures metal and makes metal strong and durable. From heat comes pressure. And this combination can take something like a piece of coal and produce diamonds. And you heard Malcolm X talk about us and compare the black man and woman of America to diamonds. Because we've been through hella pressure. And this is what you are, black man and woman. You don't see it yet. I don't see it yet. And the people of the earth don't see it yet. But you and I, we are diamonds in the rough. But now we must be unearthed. Listen, you must be unearthed from this grave that we've been placed into. And we must be shined. And we must be polished. And then set into beautiful jewelry. You see signs of it when you see those who accepted the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. You're seeing signs of it. Those of us who accepted the Hebrew Israelite teachings, Yahweh being Yahweh, you're seeing signs of it in all these things, even in Christian religion. You're seeing signs of the beautiful people we are. But because of confusion, we have yet to unearth ourselves, to place ourselves in the position to be cut and then to be polished and to become that shining diamond that people are willing to die and fight over. You don't know it. But when you, black man and woman of America, we finally get ourselves together, and you can, they'll be fighting over you. They will be giving you the honor that they would have given the original people of this planet. The return of mama, the return of daddy back to the house. That's what you represent. But now mama and daddy don't have the flaws, don't have the weaknesses that they once did. And now you putting yourself in a position that not only you don't have to no longer talk about being God or goddesses. You can be about it and show your power and show your force. Man. Woo! I love it. If you think about it for yourself, outside the confines of these slavery teachings, whether they be black or white. This message is for us And it's not to put anybody else down. But this is our mission. Everybody can't be President Obama. You can be jealous. You can be envious. But becoming the president, that was his fate. This is our fate. To be the perfect example, the best example of what a human being can become. Or we can reject this great reward that has been given to us, and we can become the greatest embarrassment and the worst. And I don't see how it can get worse that the human being can become. And it's sad you having all this brain power and you can't do no better. You look and we look. We were made and we are in the image of the original people, the original gods of this planet. I don't want us to get spooky. I'm just using God. God is only that which has force and power. And at the time, that's all that existed were the original people. They determined their own destiny. Unlike the Caucasian people, when they came into power, they influenced and they determined the destiny of others. Like they determined our destiny in America. Black man and woman, the descendants of slaves in America, we look like or are in the image of the original people. But we are no longer of them. This is why we look so silly trying to be something of the past when we have gone through this hell because we are of the future. We are the shepherds of humanity. We are the Christ to show humanity where it needs to go. Not one person. We are a people that has been raised from the dead. We look so dumb, trying to dress like ancient people, people who don't exist anymore, or Arabs. But I understand why we do this, because we were robbed of the knowledge of self. So we're trying to find an identity, but have yet to do so as a people. You have this group of so-called blacks doing this one doing that. There is no identity. There is confusion. There is an identity crisis. And none of these belong to you. You have your own label. You don't have to borrow. You don't have to steal the identity of nobody. And to this point, you will have the greatest identity of them all. If you understand, if you mature your mind, understand who you are and what you represent in this process of improvement, not of black people, an improvement of the human species. Then we're trying to find our identity. You have silly people who get angry because they don't like you to make claims, to lay claims to something they want. That's too good for you, Negro. You ain't no Egyptian. You ain't this, you ain't that, if it's good. They don't argue with you when you want to be a pimp, a prostitute, a drug dealer, and all these other foul things. But when you try to seek somewhere where you can belong so you can be proud of, that ain't you. They don't want us to have nothing. That's why we should seek our own identity and be proud of who we are. You just don't know what you're capable of because you've chained yourself down. You've allowed yourself to be enslaved. I would tell you what has happened. A caterpillar is considered an ugly insect, an ugly bug. It is greedy. It spends all day eating leaves. At this stage of our development, the so-called Negro, the African American, the Hebrew Israelite, whatever you want to call yourself, at this stage, we are seen like the caterpillar, lazy, trifling, good for nothing. Just have babies forever, whatever, drunkards. That's how we're seen. Something to exploit. But the caterpillar comes to the point in time where it begins to spin a cocoon. And it goes through a change, a metamorphosis. And then out from the cocoon emerges a butterfly. And the butterfly is considered beautiful, breathtaking. And the butterfly, unlike the caterpillar, is able to fly. It is not held down by gravity. But if you didn't know any better, you wouldn't know that the butterfly and the caterpillar are the same creature. I suggest to us that the so-called African American, the so-called Negro, we've gone and going through the same process like the caterpillar. The cocoon that we were placed into was called slavery. And now we are slowly emerging to become that butterfly. But yet, we are our own individual, coming from the original, of whom, like the caterpillar and the butterfly, we are one and the same. It is not for us to be black or African. We are to become that which is new. And until you explore that which makes you new, you will continue to stay in the cocoon and be a slave to somebody, to some God, some person, some animal maybe, but a slave nonetheless. The butterfly represents the ability to fly or ascend into the sky or ascend into the heavens. Religion is obsessed with people wishing to go to heaven, wishing the ability to fly into space so they can meet their creator. There's a need for the human being to leave the earth. The racist Caucasian people try very hard to explore and conquer space. They want to go out into the heavens. But unfortunately, according to the Muslim book of scriptures called the Holy Quran, it says that before Allah destroys a nation or destroys the wicked, he gives them a peek into the heavens. Let you go a certain way, and then he destroys you. Wow, that's sort of cruel, don't you think? To tease somebody like that, it's just like when a female teases a male with a kiss. Then when you try to get the kiss, then she slaps you. I guess you didn't do something to earn the kiss, I guess. I cannot tell you the name or description of who we are or who we are to become. If we allow ourselves to participate in this process, it will come. You don't have to go find it. It'll find you. It's always here. Been here for a long time. But our immaturity and our misunderstanding of who we really are makes it so that it cannot come out. You hinder your development by holding on to things of the past or things of the conquerors when you should be looking toward the future, not seeking to return back to the past, a past that will never return. Do you think that which is of old will be allowed into the house of something new? Many of y'all, you know how it is when you move into a new house. Most times, you don't want nothing old in the new house. You don't want your children bringing mud and tracking up your old house. This is something new. This is something that you cherish, that which is new. You don't want to foul that which is new. So we must stop being stuck in the past, trying to be somebody you've never known, that no longer exists, or adopt a lifestyle based on something in this society that you claim oppress you, or something that somebody is saying that you stole from them. You don't need nothing from somebody else. Everything you need, just like the butterfly. Everything the butterfly needs, everything that the caterpillar needs, everything that any life form needs is given to you upon your existence. You don't need nothing from white folks. You don't need nothing from so-and-so history. Everything that you need is going to come from you. Everything you need. You don't have to copy nobody. In fact, when we come into our correct state of mind, all these who have oppressed you, all of them will fall down at your knees. We've already seen signs of it in our history. But they will, not because we're special, we're superior, Because finally they will see that's the type of human being I really want to be. They will follow you. And they will follow us as they did the original people of the past. The destiny of the human family is to return from whence they came. That's another video. And I know some folks don't like it, but you see signs of these things in nature. And I'm trying to show us from a realistic, natural point of view how life changes. In religion, we are taught that God plans to bring a new heaven and a new earth, and the former things will pass away. We must allow all of our current religious and political ideas to pass away from your mind. It is the only way that which is new can appear. We should not be looking for some special individual. The answer is within an entire people, made for the task of bringing that which is new. New doesn't necessarily mean brand new. A car can be new, but made from recycled parts from a Model T. But of course, we're not driving Model Ts. We're looking for improvement. We're not talking about going back to the past. We're not talking about driving Model Ts and riding camels. But we want a brand new car that don't pollute the water, don't pollute the air. We want something new. It doesn't mean we forget the old. It means we must set in motion and place into power a new world so we can gather knowledge. It is the best of knowledge, not tainted by any type of racial supremacy of any kind. Religion teaches that the kingdom of heaven is in you, not just some special divine individual. You need to learn, brothers and sisters, you as an individual. Open up your mind. Let yourself think. You have a lot of contribution. Some people have more to contribute than others. What is your contribution? Not just following some divine person, some special person. I'm not special. I don't say nothing special. I'm trying to get us, whether I'm right or wrong, I'm trying to pick at your brain so you can think for yourself and break these shackles of these religious and political thinking that has done nothing for us. What has these done for you lately? Nothing, except kept you a slave. Either slave to white folks or slave to some black face. Why are black folks obsessed with following people, being placed in a slave-like position, wanting to worship something? Until these issues are dealt with, a people destined to become butterflies will remain caterpillars. You will remain grounded to this world. And this world, many of you will agree, it's on its way out. So in conclusion, speaking, and I want to speak to all these fake and hypocritical type people that they claim they wish to be free. You talk all this black power, black conscious stuff, but you don't even have the spirit of a runaway slave. Because a runaway slave ran away. They didn't care where they had to go. They just knew they had to get the hell out of here. I don't see none of you making no effort to run away. I see no effort with all this black conscience, all this black power stuff y'all talking. I see no effort to leave the slave master's plantation. You spend your money on lawyers' meetings, get together and really talk about nothing that has helped us. You want to go visit places. Let us go to Egypt. For what? You're going to spend all this money going to Egypt to visit. You can't even read what they call hieroglyphics. How you say? You can't read it. We're so emotional over this stuff. And where has it gotten or getting you? Nowhere. All your money, everything that you're doing, still go back to the people that you claim you don't like. All your money. The black man and woman of America, we are the only oppressed people that have access to the conqueror. We have access to billions of dollars. We have positions in the conqueror society that we don't take advantage of. Man, I guarantee you they would love to be past revolutionaries, would love to be in the position of the so-called Negro of America. You can't accomplish nothing until you let go of the past and let it pass away. I'm not saying forget it. I'm not saying forget your ancestry. First of all, you got to find your ancestry. All this I think and believe, you can come to some type of conclusion once we get rid of these things that taint and have tainted history. And let us view history whether it is good for us or it makes us look bad. You have to let it go. Establish your own identity. Start thinking for yourself. Then we can form a cocoon and begin this great transformation to turn into the butterfly and fly into the heavens. Don't you want to go to heaven? I'm not talking about fiction and fantasy. A heaven that you make on earth and that you would extend out into these high places. Do you really want to know what's out there? You really don't even know what's down here yet. There's a gift for you and me. Many others, they want your place. They have tried to do the job that we've been created for. They have failed. In fact, they become corrupt. They become part of the problem instead of part of the solution. But let me say this in conclusion, that time waits for no one. Since this is not about race. Because race, you keep holding on to race. That's a concept that was created solely by your oppressors. And you want to keep it alive. You should be shaming yourself. But you don't know no better. But now you do. Once you break the shackles of white supremacy and black supremacy, because they both the same. We should be seeking freedom, justice, and equality, and that has no color. And you should want to become God so you can secure the happiness of all the human family. And nature will take care of itself. I'm very sure that humanity, regardless of skin color, we should be tired of the constant warmongering. murder, rape, pedophilia, the lies, deceit, jealousy, envy, classism, gender bias. And I could go on and on. You should be sick of it. You should be ready for a change. Not for the change that Obama was calling for. Just a change to make the same old boys club better. We don't want that. You want to represent and be somebody different. You want to be something new. You want to be, like the Christians say, you want to be like Christ. And you want to be like Bilal in the Quran. You want to be like him that call others to prayer. Oh, wow. Woo! It's us. Not being somebody special. Because we went to the school of hell to qualify for this position. And you should be so happy to graduate because you've been through 400 years and have earned your degree. Accept your gift, black man and woman of America. Let us choose not to no longer be caterpillars and eating ourselves to death. Being pigs and swine wallowing in the mud of this society, in this world, because it's on its way out. And it can take all of humanity out with it. But we are the creation's mercy. And you are taught in religion how merciful God is. We are God's mercy on this human species. Let us do better. Think about what I'm saying to us. It's in us. The kingdom of heaven is in you, the scripture says. It's not in the sky. It's in you. Because you will build the kingdom with your hands. The hands, they say, are lazy and trifling, but you built a nation that became a world power that changed time, that renamed the animals, the fish of the sea, the fowl of the sky, and the very people themselves. It's a wonderful time. But like the scriptures also say, it can be very dreadful. Let us seek to make it as peaceful and this change less dreadful as possible. Stand up, brothers and sisters. It's your time. Embrace your gift. But share your gift. And be fair. And be just. And be humble. So that we can save this human species that has, for thousands of years, traveled a path of self-destruction. Thank you for listening, brothers and sisters, friends and family and guests and even enemies. Thank you for listening. This is your brother Taalik Ibn'rad. Jot down your comments. Please feel free to join me on dailymotion.com, vimeo.com, MySpace, here on YouTube, of course, and be sure to friend the Realities Temple on Facebook. Let's have a conversation about this. Let's talk. And let's get it together. All of us, no matter what your race is, all of us, humanity, we are too smart of a life form to continue on this path. We can do better. Let us do better. Peace forever and always, and respect you.